Some of us have done that for a year or two.
Yeah, so I started recording. There's Chip. Hey, Chip, what's up?
What are we doing?
So good to see you.
Likewise.
And
Barb.
there's two Barbara Chases. I don't know which one's real. It's probably
Mark, you're I gave him the same link as the one I'm using.
got it. We know you're in the metaverse.
It's so good to see you, Warren.
So good to see you guys. I've been
David and Scott.
No, what a crowd.
Gosh, and Colleen. This is great.
Warren's got the piano there.
I do. I can play that. I got my Timber's right there, the dog. I'm good to go. This is my classroom. This is my Zoom classroom at TCNJ. I got, see, right there. So
I think you got some bad students.
Well, I do have a student. Dustin is here. Oh my God. And Colleen, who is that?
A little kid stealing Halloween candy. He was just up after I just caught him on there. You want to say hi?
Hi, Ripley.
Hi, little kid.
Hey, Rex.
Halloween candy.
Where's my Halloween candy?
Lunch or Halloween candy? You can guess which one wins.
So proud of you. Yeah, since I saw you, Ellen and I became grandparents again. So a little grandson, which is very exciting.
Congrats.
And yeah, it's been fun. It's those little and there's Francois from Canada. How you doing, Francois?
I'm headed out to see my grandbaby on Thursday.
Nice.
That's 17 months and new words every day.
Wow.
We got some real old farts on this call. Francois, we can't hear you. I want you to you're not piloting a jet, are you? Yeah, get your audio straightened up and say hello. Francois started Dustin and Alex, I want you to meet this guy because he makes pedagogy come alive on the touchscreen. And so we do have some students here. We also have some professors, including Barbara Chamberlain, who just jumped on. Hello, Barbara.
Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Hello.
So great to see you. I don't mean to scare you, but Darren is the co-host of this meeting.
So that's why you keep him on mute.
What is this button do? So I really, I get these tinges every time this year because the leaves start changing and it's like, oh my gosh, and it's daylight savings time and everything. And, it's time for Duster Magic. And so I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see you guys in this forum. And so I got to stay on topic. I'd like to kind of finish this in an hour, maybe, because Robin's got to ride her bike.
What?
In a safe way. So guys, feel free to unmute. This is a pretty small group and you can unmute and talk if it's quiet in the background, and let's keep this as spontaneous as possible and informal. So don't be afraid. But if you want to lurk, that's fine as well. I'm going to share my screen and just jump you through some slides here that I prepared and introduce you to sort of the agenda for what I planned. And it's a very loose agenda. So off we go into that world. Let's go there. Okay. All right, you guys can see the Duster Magic Virtual Greetings 2021. So that's kind of what this is. So there is some back channel stuff here. If you want to actually post things in this slide deck, all you got to do is this is a Google slide deck. Just go ahead and drop them in if you want to share something. And I think, is this Francois? Are these slides?
Yeah.
Awesome, good. So we're gonna see something new from you. Good. All right. So what I wanted to do at the beginning, while I had you guys, is have a quick oh, sorry, getting off track. There's also a handout link. So if you go into this, you will see this page right here. And Robin, I pasted all your articles in here. David, I pasted your article about the metaverse, whatever the heck that is, right? And so you guys can add anything you want. All right, so that's the Spirit of Duster Magic, a child development driven huddle around what's new in children's media, from the video space, the toy space, the interactive space. And our goal is to make each other smarter. Okay, so that's the plan. And this is being recorded, I should say, as well. The quote is, an idea can become Duster magic depending on the talent that rubs against it. And that happens all the time in this space. And I know that you guys have seen some magic. So let's go over to some general announcements that I have. The first is Duster Magic Asilomar is now a signed contract.
Ooh.
So it's going to happen, which means that I need to get at least 20 people or I lose my deposit. So I hope you guys will come. I'm thinking that by next spring, it's June 3rd through the 5th, that maybe the pandemic will be a little bit, we'll feel safer about flying. I got my booster vaccination. Anybody else get theirs? All you old people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I'm
Canada
in
isn't there
line.
yet.
I'm in
Who's
line for
old?
it.
Alex, you got yours?
I'm in line. I'm waiting for December. My appointment's ready to go. This arm is ready to take a day off.
All right, good. Yeah, so anyway, this is a very low, high touch, high tech kind of meeting where we physically get together and really have some quality experiences. Children are welcome to this event, and I'm hoping that by next June, we'll be in good shape. David KLEEMAN has agreed to come, and so I know there's going to be at least one smart person there. So
Warren,
There goes any hope.
yes, Robin.
you should get in touch with John Idelson. Remember, he lives there in Monterey. John's son is now the CTO of Zoom. And if you can get John Idelson and his son, whose name I forget, there, it would be awesome, because they're doing a lot with education and kids, and they should be a part of it.
I can't keep John Idelson away from that event. It's
Yeah, he loves it and he loves you. So definitely take advantage of that.
That's awesome. And my other final announcement here is that I've done a lot. Matt DiMatteo and I have done a lot of work on the Children's Technology Review database, and so my plan is that I've kind of made it maintenance free. So it's all in the cloud now, and it's much faster. So if you want to see editor's choice, bam, there it is. And I am tagging everything with the ethical seal. And so it's a lot faster and sort of streamlined. We've taken a lot of the stuff out. So Children's Technology Review lives on. The subscription price is $30 a year. So it's half price, and I've eliminated the PDFs and the all that. So it's going to let me be a professor full-time and still do some reviews. So that's what I have now. What I'd like to do now is turn it over to let's jump in the metasphere. So everybody put on your masks. And I'll stop sharing here so you can see this. Stop sharing. There we go. So this was Darren Karstens made this back in 2010, Darren. It was Windows 7, and it was an N95 mask. How did he know? And I'm not lying. We got flooded. I don't know if you heard, and this was floating around in the water. So I said, "Oh, a mask. I'll use that." So anyway, there's been so many memories with this event. It's great to see you guys. I see another couple students from TCNJ joined. Vince is here from senior thesis. Good job, Vince. You get a good grade, and the
No.
CEO,
Or at least a new pencil.
the CEO of In the Snow Studios has arrived. Patrick Merkley. Say hello, Patrick.
Also the birthday boy.
Yes, hello.
Ah,
Happy birthday.
happy
Thank
birthday.
you. Thank you. Happy to
So Patrick just made a really cool game, and I'm hoping you might do a demo for us. So, and there's Amanda Armstrong. Hi, Amanda. We want to see you. And hi, Abigail. Good to see you. How
You can
many
call me
years?
Abby.
How many years has it been?
For me?
Yeah, since we saw you came to Industrial Magic a long time ago.
Yeah, that was 2015, I think, 2016, 2015, whenever Toka TV was still a thing.
Yeah, right. Toka TV. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you guys ready to, let's go to the metaverse. So David KLEEMAN is here, and Robin Raskin, and I was hoping we'd have a quick little panel here, and then Chip Donahue, you can straighten them out. Okay.
Warren, really quickly, I want to introduce Adriana down here as one of my incredible students. She's getting her PhD this year. She works with me at OK Play in the Children's Media Lab, and everyone should know her
Cool.
here. She's fantastic.
Where are
Thank you, Colleen. Hi, nice to meet everyone.
you're getting your PhD also?
I am. I'm hoping to be done in March, actually. So coming up.
I'm going to rearrange your
Outstanding.
script, put you right next to Alex. Alex Washington's getting his PhD as well.
And Amanda.
And now Georgine's here.
Hey, Amanda, say what you've been up to. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. So many things. But yes, I'm finishing up my research for my dissertation, which I have to rewrite. But yeah, so that's going well, and have a fellowship with New America, which I'll be releasing a report in the next month from that. So yeah, a lot of different things, and looking for jobs eventually.
Awesome. And who, Georgine, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Georgine Trossett, and I'm only here for a minute. Unfortunately, I'm supposed to be going out to lunch with my sons. But I was going to try to put a few slides that you could just take a peek at if you wanted to, Warren, about the research that Colleen and I and Gabrielle Strauss and Zach Stuckelman have been doing with ebooks. I think it's pretty cool stuff. And if anybody wanted to pick up on it, we'd love to work with folks.
All right.
I've got it as a PowerPoint. Can I just try to copy those slides in there?
No, what
your thing?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. What I'm going to do is send you in the chat right now, a link just popped up.
Yeah.
And that's the slides. If you click on that link, anyone can edit those slides. So go ahead and drop them in. And all you PhD students, there's a doc. If someone could stick that link to the doc in. Oh, there it is. I think, oh, Colleen. No, Barbara did it. Thanks, Barbara. Barbara Chamberlain's always got my back. Yeah, so if you joined after that, you can go to the doc. Okay. So part of what our goal here is just to say hello. That's the most important thing. Look at a few of the candy stealing kids that Colleen has. I like that.
And they're
Who
Paw Patrol.
is that? That's a dog?
Yeah, we could not,
Paw Patrol.
yeah,
Colleen, do you,
not avoid it.
can you see my dog? Timber? See my dog? I got a real dog.
A real dog.
Right there.
Oh, cute.
He's a great dog.
I love dogs.
All right. Did anybody else want to say hello? That I haven't really. There's some folks I don't know. But so Robin can ride her bike. Let's talk about the metaverse. Okay. I'm really excited to learn. I mean, talk about crazy. Should I go to, I'll go to my slides and you guys can direct to me. And then if you want to share your screen, go ahead. The question is, what is the metaverse? And my top line headlines on this is, I know that there are a lot of jokes going around about it. I know that Ray-Ban and Facebook or Meta has partnered together, and they made these cool looking glasses. And that Google Glass was an important thing. So it's obvious that Moore's Law, the general trends of Moore's Law, is driving a lot of technologies. Make as many jokes as you want, but it's a reality that the Oculus has dropped in price, and it's pretty awesome technology. I've got one student at TCNJ doing a thesis using the Oculus 2, and it's pretty cool. And that, you know, augmented reality in various forms is going to definitely make a start to influence what's going on. So we are living in exciting times. And so here to straighten it out, I've got David KLEEMAN and Robin RASKIN. And Robin, you're doing an event at Toy Fair, which I'm excited about. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger here. David wrote an article, Kids Have Kickstarted the Metaverse. And then I got a juicy quote from Robin, who's been writing a lot about this. So let me turn it over to you two guys, and then anybody can jump in at any point.
Okay, David, so I'll start and then I'll leave you to clean up my mess. So needless to say, we've seen this before. We saw it in Second Life. Kids, you saw it the day that you gave your kid $5 and they said, I want to buy a digital sword for my avatar. And you said, really, that's what you want to do with your $5? We understood there was something bigger going on here that was going to continue. So the way I say it in a really simple way is, the internet is now for sale. Good, bad, or indifferent. You can buy real estate on the internet. You can sell digitized art, and you can create non-fungible tokens. And I'm happy to go into the explanation of basically digital identities of physical things that end up being worth more than the physical things themselves. So a good example is Nike. Nike has sneakers that you can buy to dress your avatar in. And the sneakers that you dress your avatar in are in fact more expensive than the sneakers you would buy in the store. The same for MAC Cosmetics, the same for Givenchy, Balsamiga. They are all experimenting with dressing up your avatar for the metaverse. And it's still pretty primitive and it still looks really awkward, but I'm spending a lot of time there. And somehow it's amazing because even when I dress up like as a reptile, they know I'm an old person. It's kind of incredible. It's like, what are you doing here? I'm bumping into walls. I can't sit down in the chair. It's really, in a simple word, it is. Many people want to do business there. It's really not a place for business yet. It is a place to explore, to party, to be entertained, and to have events. So I was so intrigued with all of this that during the pandemic, I started the virtual events group. And the job was to make better meetings, whether it was in a Zoom or whether it was in the metaverse. And I don't know how many of you have gone to any of Fortnite's rock and roll concerts or Roblox rock and roll concerts, but they're pretty amazing things. And most amazing, I spoke to Roblox the other day. They started, as you know, as a kids-based world where kids could play games made by other kids. And they now told me, and I'm allowed to say this, they are skewing older. They don't want to deal with kids anymore. They want to deal with 21 Pilots and Vans and brand names for older kids because that's where the money is. So you're going to see a lot of weird experiments happening this year. And the Toy Fair, I decided and convinced Toy Fair this was a good thing to do. So in Toy Fair in February in New York, we're building an area of the show called Welcome to the Metaverse. And the idea is to show toy brands what the potential is for them in a metaverse world. So let's say you have a Gund plushie or a Crayola crayon or sparkly My Little Pony. What does that look like when it has a virtual identity and provenance and ownership? And so we will have a circular bunch of exhibitors, and we'll have conferences all day. David KLEEMAN is leading some of the conferences. If anybody else is interested, I'll post the topics. They're good. Why mine an NFT? Why go to the metaverse? And I think as toy and game companies understand this, they're going to be there. So that's my spiel, and I'll turn it over to David.
Hello. Well, I'm going to take it from a slightly different direction. I guess the first thing I'm going to say is if you haven't seen the piece in today's New York Times about the gathering of NFT owners in New York, you really ought to read it, just because this is maybe a place where Robin and I part company. I think the whole thing is a Ponzi scheme, and it's a massive bubble. And it's a lot of people convincing themselves that this stuff has money, has value. So they gather in New York and they hang out on real yachts, and it's just, it really disturbs me that that's the direction this might go. I'm gonna take you in the direction that Dubbit, the company I work for, is looking at the metaverse, and that I am as well. And a couple things about that. I just posted an article. For those of you who don't know, Dubbit is kind of a mix of a research and strategy consultancy and a digital studio. And sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, probably, we're going to be announcing actually a massive investment, $8 or $9 million investment from outside to build our metaverse consultancy. So we have intellectual interest in it, but also monetary interest in it as well. The piece that I just posted a link to, though, is by one of my colleagues who splits her time between Dubbit and Arts College in Manchester. And she has launched research in the metaverse. She feels like if we're going to be talking to kids, we need to meet them, especially given the pandemic, when we can't go into their homes anymore. We need to meet them where they are. So she's created a research facility, essentially, a ship and a beach and a playground and a swimming pool and all these places, sort of informal places to gather kids in Roblox. And she finds that it puts them at ease rather than being in a research facility or having us come into their homes. We're meeting them where they want to play. She's ironed out some of the early difficulties, like when you create too much opportunity for play, kids get distracted and don't want to participate in the research. But she's ironing those out now. She and I actually just held a conference session for Cinekid in Amsterdam live from Roblox. So that's one area. We see it as a place where it's not just going to be games. It's not just going to be hangout spaces, but it's got a lot of different potential as places to learn, places to work, places to play, places to connect and socialize. I will, having already dissed NFTs, I will now say I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg is on the right track for what the metaverse is going to be. As with most things that come out of that shop, he wants to own it. You could feel in his presentation about it a very tight grip around, we're going to own the hardware, we're going to own the software, we're going to own the shops now that they're going to be opening retail shops for VR, we're going to own the advertising, we're going to own it. And to my mind, the key thing about the metaverse is that it's going to be distributed space. It's going to be co-created space. You know, you could see the headline that Warren put up, the article that I wrote, that kids have kickstarted the metaverse. If you look at what they are doing in Roblox, building two of my favorite stats, there are 1,700 Lego games in Roblox, probably more now. None of those was created by Lego. In the first month of Squid Game being on Netflix, over 100,000 Squid Game games were created in Roblox or Hangout spaces. Not all of them, obviously, are going to be fully playable. Some of them are going to be copies of each other and that. But it just shows you that when you have a fandom, when you have something that you love, this is where you go now to create around it. You can go to Fortnite Creative and make your space to celebrate what it is that you love. You can go to Roblox and make games and hangouts. But this to us is the biggest sign that it's going to be co-created space. And the companies, you know, Netflix in its earnings call said, we love it when people create games around Squid Games. We got no problem with you know, trying to hold on too tightly to our IP. Lego clearly has said it's fine if you want to create around this. Companies will be looking to make sure nobody kind of violates the spirit of their products. That if you put up an obscene Lego game, I'm sure they'd come after you to take it down. But they're saying, look, if this is, you know, it goes back to something that Mark Schlichting, that I quote often from Mark, about when kids were playing with one of his games in a way that, or one of his apps in a way that wasn't how they had planned. And his engineers said, okay, we can disable it. And he said, no, if that's how kids want to play, make it a feature, not a bug. That's what's going on in the metaverse now. So one last thing, and that is that I've got an article about, mostly written, that talks about how we've talked for a long time about gamification of learning, the idea of applying gaming principles to curriculum and to ways of learning. This article was about the learnification of gaming, the idea that all these kids who are out there right now, kids and young adults and adults, creating games, creating hangout spaces, creating artworks in immersive spaces. They are doing this because they are intrinsically motivated to create these things, and they are learning how to be coders. They are learning how to be designers. They're learning how to go give and take with an audience to make sure that you're serving what it is that they want. But they're doing it because some of them are obviously making money at it, but they're doing it because they are massively motivated to do the things that they love, to play games, to make games, to share games. So I'll stop there for now and we can turn it into a discussion.
Can someone explain to me how Club Penguin is not the metaverse?
I'd call it a proto-metaverse.
Call them what?
I'd call it a proto-metaverse, and I think that's what Fortnite and Roblox are right now as well. The metaverse itself is, if we get there, when we get there, how we get there, is going to have to be a connection of many spaces. So no one of these defines in my mind, this defines the metaverse. But Club Penguin had a lot of the features. It had a thriving economy. It had you could play, you could socialize, you could create to some extent.
Yeah, I don't think you could create games as much as the metaverse, the metavi, as I call them, that you're seeing now, that is very much about creation. That you are, Roblox was genius. I think, David, we agree there, in that kids could split the profits with the company, and they were the creators and the engine behind that company. The true metaverse should be much more open and interoperable, that you could jump from a Roblox to a Fortnite, to a headset, to a no headset. Certainly that is not
take your
going to
stuff
happen.
with you.
Yes, that's not going to happen tomorrow. Right.
If you buy an outfit in Fortnite, you should be able to take it to Roblox.
Right.
Yeah. I love the learnification of gaming, David. Thank you for that.
I saw the light bulb go off over your head, Warren, when you said it.
Yeah,
I wrote that one down too. That was a good one, David.
you're a sly weasel. I like that. I bet Chip liked it too.
Really?
Chip, do you
Where
get,
will that article, where could we find that article when it's ready, Did?
Haven't figured out where that one's going to go yet, but I'll have it up. I'll put it on the Duster Magic site. It could be kid screen, but it also could be somewhere. I might take it to Techonomy where Robin has some pull.
Yes, I would love you to have it there and that we do a panel there together again. So yes, happy to do that. Yeah, actually, if you get a chance, read my Techonomy column this week. I happen to be in Lisbon and get a chance to spend time with Francis Hagan and the Facebook people. So I got two sides of the story. Needless to say, Francis's was much more compelling and authentic than the Facebook story. But and as you see, there's a huge backlash against Mark becoming the anointed king of the metaverse. But Microsoft has announced its own metaverse effort this week, more in the enterprise side. And the sad part of all of this, unlike web, many people refer to this as Web 3.0. If Web 1.0 was you went to visit sites, Web 2.0, you interacted with them, Web 3.0, you are there in the world with them. And the brands and the commercial efforts are working really hard to dominate that space, and it would be super unfortunate if it was just a big shopping center.
I'm dying to hear what Mark or Barbara has to say, or Chip. I know that you've got some things bubbling about this. The one thing I want to say is that while the names have changed and the terminology, it might be, meta, the play patterns are the same. And I can hear Chris Byrne shouting out that right now that, the constant of child development makes a perfect lens for which we can understand how all these things fall into place. And if you ever are confused as to what the metaverse means, watch a child, because the kids always will lead us through it, and watch how they play. Mark?
Looks like Alex has something to say as well.
Thank you, David. I just have a question. It's like, when do you feel metaverse will fully catch on? Why I ask is, I saw Ariana Grande's concert, and with Fortnite, and I'm like, you did not do any true promo. There was no behind the scenes video, and I'm like, for how big Ariana Grande is, it's almost like we're only going to focus on the kids who are already in this world. And I always say the world next to it is called merch world. Rappers, singers, your influencers. I'm like, when is it going to bridge over to the next? Because for Fortnite not to have pushed this Ariana Grande concert, I should have saw, hi, my name is Ariana Grande, this is my concert, blah, blah, blah. It makes me wonder if there's a disconnect between metaverse people and merch world, like the influencers and the other side of children. Like, I come from the other side, not as much as I was ever a gamer per se.
Yeah.
Great question.
So you are seeing, actually they got a bit, Roblox did a great job with 21 Pilots of promoting it more, but there is this inner crowd of mostly kids, and it's the same in the world of events. So in events, you had real life events, real life sporting things, real life concerts. And now you have virtual equivalents, but the next step is hybrid. So 50,000 of you will go to Madison Square Garden to see Ariana Grande, and the other millions will stay in Fortnite. And so you're going to see these hybrid experiences that turn out to be really powerful because they go deep and wide and everybody's included, but they're very expensive on the production side because you're really producing two events at the same time. And so that's something the industry is going to struggle with. And then, coming out of the pandemic, So you're seeing a lot of conferences saying, we'll let 150 people into the real event, and then we'll broadcast it to everybody else. And so you're seeing that in sports a lot. The people that were the best at it were the worldwide wrestling people. They knew about this a long time ago. They had events for the fans in the stadium, but you could be a fan on the outside and have a million experiences too. And I think that is the direction we're heading. But FOMO is always there, missing out. Yeah.
Isn't it almost like a Beyonce concert? We all can't go, but I'm gonna be on YouTube watching the 50 versions of the Beyonce concert. And for not that train thoughts have caught up yet in metaverse, I'm like, people will watch Beyonce on a screen and pretend they were there versus ever having to go. And that just makes her beehive so much larger. So I'm really waiting for that social media merch side to bleed into the metaverse to say, y'all should be best of friends by now. That's it.
You're right.
I do know that we've got that Darren has a fungi token. I know, because right, Darren?
That's all you're getting. Nice segue.
I know there's some fungi. Didn't you say, what's that word? Fungal? Fungible. Yeah. I know we got that floating around. I got something going, and it's worth more than my sneakers, my real sneakers. Chip,
which has more fungus.
Yeah.
Your sneakers are probably very fungible.
Sounds like a disease for sure.
These jokes are much better in person. I mean, sorry.
Not really.
Oh, come on. Barbara, Chip, Mark, we're not hearing your wisdom here. What do you
Mark
got?
was starting. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, we're thinking about these virtual worlds of the metaverse, and it's really, how can it goes beyond going to a concert. It's really about how well can we hang out with each other and what can we do together. And for the last 2 years, Barbara and I and Jim Margrath and Darren's been working with us. We've been working on a co-play activities for grandparents and grandchildren. We call it Canoe. It's about to launch, KINOO. And, it's sort of like, the cover of my book, it says, how to create games, children's, children, how to understanding kids play and interactive design, how to create games children love. But that's how to create games children love when they're playing with the computer. And we've been spending the last 2 years learning about co-play. How do you help a 60-year-old and a 3-year-old play together and in an interactive environment? And it's really had to turn a lot of what we know on our heads. And we had to go back to, there was a wonderful picture of you, Warren, chasing, you're peeking around the corner of a couch like a monster on the floor, and your grandson is running away screaming, having you being chased by the monster. And that's what we're spending a lot of our time, is trying to figure out how can we support the grandparents to have better connection. And co-play is so different than just designing for games for single play. So it's been a very interesting thing. And
Mark, congratulations. Congratulations to you. David and I saw Jim Margrath's presentation of Kinu. It rocks. It's so much of a bigger idea than people can imagine. And he gave you lots of shout outs for being there right from the start. And the intergenerational part of this, I mean, I call our 9-year-old grandson and says, I got a party in VR chat. What do I do? And he walks me through it. I mean,
I think that there was a comment in the chat that I just wanted to point out that, us older, generation are calling it the metaverse, but really, as soon as we try and name it and label it or own it or make it like something commercial, it's going to just completely change. It's going to shift. It's going to change because the younger population is not trying to have it be this singular thing. And it doesn't leave room for everyone as soon as we do that.
I'm going to argue with you there, Barbara, because look at TikTok. There are a lot of really happy kids that became very wealthy influencers. There's 8-year-olds selling NFTs, making their fortunes. So I think they see it as more of an outlet for their creativity that can actually make money also, than you might think.
But naming it TikTok versus naming like this is the play pattern, this is the experience, it's like it goes beyond. It's like it's hard to name, like what is TikTok? It's hard to name it because it's so many things and it can go in so many different directions and accomplish, just really sort of, older people can use it and 8-year-olds can use it. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, behind it, in terms of how people are connecting and how people are being creative instead of having it be just a singular experience.
I think there's something here behind all of this that we haven't really talked about, that how do you empower a creator economy?
Yeah.
Whether it's a metaverse or not, whether it's TikTok or not.
Yeah, creator economy, I like that.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and years ago, I wrote a column called The Medicis and Madison Avenue, that there have always been people who have supported the arts. And fandom and creator economy are no different. And if you haven't looked at VidCon, it's run by Viacom and my good friend Jim Louderback, you should take a look, because it's all about giving creators the skills they need, in addition to their creation skills, to do well in this new economy where gig workers are going to be a major part, and random teams will come together and offices will go away, and they need a whole new set of skills or where to find them. And he does a very good job. If you get a chance to go to some of VidCon's conferences, they're all online, they're all free.
The one thing that I would pitch in here is that I think the whole thing with Instagram and Instagram Kids was very interesting to me, and sort of how there's recircular arguments that keep coming up over the years. And so, been there, done that, came up. I was thinking about Messenger Kids, remember that? And I know, Barbara, you worked on that. And I thought it was an awesome, really safe product and service, because it was totally opt-in. The parents had, you couldn't get on it. I signed my dog up, and I could control everything my dog wrote and could see. So I knew it worked. And I just think that in the press and the stuff I'm seeing about Instagram, there are very few reviewers who actually play this stuff and really understand what it is. And I think that Facebook actually does have, it's one of the few groups in the world that has the technology that can actually pull off a really safe, quality service. They've got the technology, and I'd like to see it used in a positive way.
They've got the technology, that they have the vision. And full disclosure, I'm on the Facebook Youth Advisory Board. But my big hope when they started talking about Instagram Kids was that it would be a completely different kind of thing from the regular Instagram, that it would, because of the audience it was aimed at, that it would be focused on visual literacy and teaching kids to be creators and creative with their visual creations, with imagery, to start to, a media literacy play, essentially. And for that reason, I'm going to sort of segue. I'm so disappointed in the first ad that Meta has put out. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's a group of kids in a museum, and they are taken into a painting. I can't remember now the name of the painting or the artist, but and you've got this great opportunity for them to actually engage with the art and why it was created the way it was. And what do? They dance. The characters in the painting dance, and the kids outside the painting dance. It's like, what a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Hey, hello, Kate Highfield. That's actually, I'm sorry, Lev Vygotsky has joined the group.
I confess I've been here for a while, but it's morning chaos here. And when you live in a metaverse, we've got Bluey watching Bluey over there. It's best to just turn off your camera. Hello, friends. It's lovely to see you.
We love Bluey. We watched it last night before bed, almost every night. So
Bluey rocks. It's my I love it too. Good stuff. Such a delightful accent on those little dogs too.
I'm just relieved they didn't redub it, because there was talk they were going to give you an American accent. Oh.
Well, it's great. It's great to see you and to have one of your students on here. Alex is doing a great job.
G'day.
G'day.
Hey, Warren, just to give me a little bit of airtime here as I listen to the metaverse. Did we not learn anything from the pandemic? Who's being left out of the metaverse conversation? What kids are not playing there and won't ever have the opportunity to play there? One of the things we learned during the early days of the pandemic was the impact of underconnected families. If you didn't have a connection, your kid couldn't go to school. Well, I've been thinking a lot about that phrase. This isn't just about technology. Families that are underconnected to learning, to education, to their communities are suffering through all of this and don't have that ability to come back. I love, Mark, what you said about co-play. I think screens have been a lifeline during the pandemic. Grandparents have kept in touch with their grandkids and families have stayed together, and all of that is really, really important. But I mean, let's remember, educators weren't ready to teach remotely. Parents weren't ready to be the home teaching facilitators, right? And so we just jumped into it. I think about 3 phases. We had March where it first all went to hell, right? And schools just said, let's survive till May. We don't know what we're doing, but we'll just survive. Then we wasted the summer in between and came back for the next school year, not really ready because we thought it would be over by then. And then lo and behold, we did it again. And we came back again for another school year, unprepared and unready. And so I think we really have to think about that. The 2 things, I love the co-play idea. I think the one shining light out of the pandemic for families with young children has been improvement in family engagement, using technology to engage with parents about their parenting, about what their children are learning. Teachers are more connected than ever. And so then here's my one little red flag I always raise. Will it all go away once we're post-pandemic? Or will we have learned these lessons about how powerful technology can be, and they will continue to be part of how we engage with families long after we have to worry about wearing masks in school and who's vaccinated? So there you go. That's my soapbox.
Thanks, Chip. I know that the pandemic has permanently made an indelible mark and has really shoved us into the future. I've been doing a reverse Zoom, which is where I go into school in my classroom at TCNJ, and Vince and Dustin and Patrick, you can vouch for me on this. The student who's not there, I can ask them, I do this for 280, not for you guys, but I asked one of the students to log into Zoom on their laptop. And so that students you can't skip class anymore, but it's been a really interesting thing to do the Zoom from the outside in or the inside out. I'm not sure what, but it's like, and I'm just like scratching my head between the tools we're using right now, Google Docs and everything, how much things have changed. And then isn't this really the metaverse that we're in right now? Mm-hmm. You know, the fact that we can share ideas in Australia, right? That we're all in real time, synchronously communicating with all these back channels. I mean, this is a real exciting time to be a doctoral student doing research in this space. And if you can't find a dissertation, you know, there's so many really rich research questions to go after right now. And so I'm so happy that we're all together, that we can just scratch the surface on this.
Warren, go ahead.
Warren, can I chime in? I want to really go back to Chip's red flag about who's not here. because some research that we're doing here in Australia is really quite scary. It's those low socioeconomic groups that are just missing out. And I do think that there's an interesting piece here, whether it be access to device or access to broadband enabled networking services. You know, there's lots of issues there. And I'm interested to hear whether that's something you guys have seen as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So
I can piggyback a little bit. Can you hear me? I can piggyback a little bit on Chip's discussion, because I work for the PBS system in Twin Cities, and I'm just coming off of a project called Hero Elementary. So we were out in the field, both in research and in practice with K2, with blended. We had these blended playlists that were originally designed to be used in person, in like after school or formal settings. And all of a sudden, you know, we don't serve children ourselves. We work nationally with people who are children facing, and all of a sudden everybody was scrambling, right? Exactly what Chip said, that first few months when people are just like, how are we doing this? But I think it's, well, actually in both formal and informal spaces, it was fascinating because all of a sudden the scale of adoption was so ginormous that these teachers who maybe had the tool but never really wanted to use it before had to use the tool. And they're the people who know how to educate. And so all of a sudden, you know, I was hearing from the field just the most fascinating, fun, energetic stories about how teachers were adopting and what the heck they were doing with the tools that they, you know, were forced to use, and how they were engaging kids. And it was, I mean, I think that there's a PhD, certainly someone's work, because just getting that all down, like not losing those stories, is, I think, going to be so important. So I don't see it going backwards. Like, I think it's only going to move forward. I'm not exactly talking about the metaverse right now, but I might be, you know, maybe it will move forward with in the metaverse, I guess. But so I'm not quite as down about it, maybe, Chip, as you are. I feel like there are kids, low socioeconomic kids who are doing it as well. It is just problematic if all they have is one, you know, cell phone at home and no wireless, right? Like, I get it, but I do think the opportunities are just, we can't even see them all. It's happening.
But you know what? To Chip's point, and to your point, Joe, we got to see that. I call it, we got to see
I stopped the conversation.
We got to see the animals in their natural habitat. So we got to see families where 3 people had to share a computer, where women were at a meeting and said, I have to go now because my daughter has to take economics class. We got to see companies step up. They could have stepped up more, but giving out Chromebooks, and making sure that the students knew where Wi-Fi spots were. So we got to see, I was very touched by what we saw. And I think you will never again take people into an office and forget they have a life outside the office, and that they have children and dogs and people ringing doorbells, and that they have real issues in their life. And I think the humanity that we saw just on a screen was touching and kind of optimistic. I think it's now more imperative, and people understand it. You must be connected, and we're going to figure out how to do that. And you're all, you know, the metaverse, you are going to have a caste system, like no, just like school. The kid with the best genes will be the avatar with the best clothes. I mean, the parallels are all there, but I was pretty optimistic with empathy I saw, not just from teachers and parents, but from kids to each other. Share my laptop, I'll send you the homework. I think there's, I hope we don't forget it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
really,
totally
Robin,
agree.
that's my goal, is that we don't forget it, that we learn the lessons, and that we remember that there was a whole range of kids that weren't part of those lessons early on, and that early childhood educators went blended or remote with no pedagogy.
Yep.
They had nothing. We had nothing that told us how to do that. And I love, Joan, what you said about teachers figuring it out by themselves. How do we capture those stories? Because great teachers figure out how to do things and figure out how to teach remotely to 4-year-olds. But we didn't have any kind of collective version of that and nothing to fall back on. So, last bit is we all know this field of early childhood has been skeptical about technology to begin with. So on one hand, they had to use it, they had to jump in, they had to figure it out, they used it. But I do worry about those folks saying, I never wanted to do that. That was just for this short period of time. And why are we still having screen time discussions every week? Another headline about screen time during the pandemic. For God's sake, why are we not past that now? Screen time is something completely different in the last year and a half, and very positive co-play opportunities and connections to each other. So, I think there's still this kind of, for very young children, this anti-tech rumbling that continues on, that, okay, this got us through this pandemic, but now let's get back to being together. And we're missing the chance to be together with technology.
My daughter-in-law teaches 3rd grade. All of a sudden, there she was thrown into having to teach all these kids over screens. And she brought in a puppet to help her out. And she started teaching math with the puppet. Oh yeah, really? How many? And the kids, she's learning better ways, new ways to engage the kids, and got a lot out of just having a puppet as part of her thing. And then other teachers wanted to know, oh, how come your kids are all so excited about your math class? Well, it's because, she was doing it with a puppet, and the kids were fabulously engaged in it and were part of it. And it's like, I was talking to her about it, and she's going into these mixed situations now where there's some kids at home and some kids in virtual, and she's going to continue using what she learned during these virtual times into the real classroom as well.
Yeah, that's great.
You can just imagine how better this discussion would be with a little Prosecco. And that's what we'll have at Asilomar, I promise.
What's funny about that, Mark, there's a startup in the Bay Area now that's looking to empower teachers with a character, like an animated character. So the instruction may be the same, but there's some AI built into the character to respond according to whatever the teacher is saying, whatever the learning content happens to be. It's a couple of former Osmo early employees that are working on this. Still very, very early though with what they're doing, but I admire the idea, very much in keeping with what you're sharing, that it doesn't have to just be the teacher on stage.
Right.
So I think, Scott, you've been grabbing some key quotes, the learnification of gaming from David KLEEMAN, and also how to support a creator economy. Keep grabbing those, and you guys keep dumping stuff into the document. So this on afterward. We're coming up on the top of the hour, and I know Robin's got to ride her bike, and it's a beautiful day here.
I know, but one last thing about when you're thinking about the metaverse, read Niantic's position on this. They actually think the metaverse of Roblox and Fortnite is dystopian, and their metaverse is more of an augmented reality, that you walk and you play in the real world and you capture whatever it is, Pokemon or Harry Potter's or whatever you do. They are about to map the entire planet and use it as a playground experiment that totally fuses physical and virtual worlds. And I find that really charming. And so I urge you, John Hanke is the CEO, and he wrote quite a long piece, I believe on Medium, about why the metaverse that we're creating is so dystopian, and the metaverse should be a fusion of real and virtual worlds.
Which is, if there was ever an example of the metaverse, Pokemon Go would be pretty darn close, right? except you could make your own Pokemon. But are they going to be at Toy Fair, Robin, Niantic?
They are, and they're going to be at CES also. So at CES, I am doing a panel. I think David's maybe moderating it also on
David, you are
learning. And poor David, I call him when I struggled over Instagram for kids and what to write about it. But we have a session on learning in the metaverse and what will that look like at CES, and then we have sessions at Toy Fair more towards playing in the metaverse than learning.
I just want to really quickly flag the fact that Teo Gray just logged in and want to say hello to Teo. Have you blown anything up lately?
No, mostly just working on books now.
I saw your calendar in a mall. I don't know if anyone remembers a real mall where you go and buy real things. I saw your calendar, and I know you're
an actual mall. You know, that's actually been one of my life goals. I did not realize they were currently for sale in malls. Was it one of those like stands in the middle, you know, where they have a lot of calendars?
Yep. It was there,
Really?
and there was Teo Gray and the periodic table of the elements calendar.
Wow, that and having a book in an airport bookshop are like my life's goal.
Yeah, Costco is next. That's right.
Costco was nice. Costco was nice, but an airport bookshop is a lot more exclusive, I think.
Great to see you, Teo. What else are you working on?
Well, like I say, I mean, I just finished a manuscript for a book about engines, and I'm currently in the middle of working on one about tools. I have about 1,500 tools of all descriptions that I've collected and have cataloged in boxes to be photographed once the manuscript is finished.
Wow.
We're in my laser cutter area, by the way. That's.
Will they be interactive so we can play with them, Theo? Will they be interactive so we can play with them?
Well, unfortunately, it's a print book because, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, so Touch Press, our app company, is no more as of actually quite a while ago. But actually, there is a development there. So, you know, so that my Elements app that maybe some of you heard of, that app and the Molecules app and all of our science apps, they were bought by a company called Story Toys, which I suppose this crowd is probably familiar with. So they bought all of our apps. They also bought the Touch Press name. And, you know, the Touch Press company in London basically went out of business, but it continued as far as the public is concerned. It was still Touch Press, you know, selling these apps. But just recently, just a few months ago, Max and Fiona and I got together and we bought back all of our science apps from Story Toys.
Whoa.
So we now own them again and the Touch Press name, but it's not really a company anymore. We're not developing any products or anything like that. We're just gonna, you know, continue selling those apps as is and maintaining them.
Wow. Well, we had Max drop in on Zoom, Max Whitby, to one of my classes last semester, and he was talking about, I asked him, you know, what's new, and he put on an Oculus and he said, I'm learning Unity and I'm mapping the universe.
Yeah, he's been having me look at, I had to buy an Oculus just for him so I could look at his astronomy app. And there's talk we might try to, I mean, I've thought for a long time there should be a VR Elements app because we have all these 3D rotations. You know, you should be able to walk around a 3D periodic table and look at all these objects and, you know, take your hand or whatever and spin them, because we could do that and it would be super easy.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, Robin, as you put together your speakers, I'm thinking about, I don't know if you guys have heard of the universe. It's kind of a neat idea. The universe. So it's fun to think that Teo and Max are got their heads together and just see what you guys are going to cook up. It's so exciting.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I remain skeptical about the size of the VR educational, you know, book type app. I mean, given that we can't make money other than the Elements app, we basically can't seem to make money in the, you know, iPad sphere. What are the chances that we're going to make money with, you know, with an Oculus? I mean, I'm sure somebody will, but I feel like it's not going to be our type of content.
I was wishing Jesse Schell was here because he's been speaking very highly of the monetization potential of the Facebook store, that they're making a boatload of money off of it and they're able to fund other things. Barbara, I don't know if you
Really, what do they sell? What kind of software or whatever you call it?
I just posted a link in the chat.
Yeah.
They do something about chemistry and
And I suggested you talk to them about they're the perfect partner. Jesse does a great job of a VR game that explores chemical atoms and molecules.
Shell games. Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this. So are they actually making money?
Yes.
Nice.
Jesse smiles.
The bulk of the money comes from doing things for Disney and other large companies. And then there are the labor of loves that will take longer to sink in. Right? Is that right?
it's my understanding as well. But
somebody from Shell Games here who can actually.
No, not that I know of. But I do. Teo, I just want to let you know, Disney animated still works.
It still works. Yeah, I have an iPad that I'm carefully never upgrading.
Yep.
In case.
You know, it's funny. When
we heard from Barry O'Neill that there's only like 25 copies of that Disney app actually out and functional right at this point.
Yeah, we were sitting on the bus next to each other when we went to go visit Warren's classroom for Jesse to speak, and Emmett had showed, was it Emmett or Barry? I forget, had shown, he had it with him, which was awesome. But that, yeah, there were only like 25 copies of it that they could.
I got a call a few months ago, like over the summer, from, it turns out it was like somebody in the Disney Books division who has been like a huge champion of this project, even though it wasn't his division doing it. And he put me together with an architect who is building some new hotel, like some new Disney hotel in a park somewhere. And they were like, I mean, he was like, people love this app, you know, it's so frustrating that you can't get it. And they were talking about putting like a gigantic color map of one of the films up the side of a 12-story building.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they saw the color map feature in the app and they thought it looked cool. And I was like, could we adapt this to, you know, to the facade of a building, which I was, of course, all in favor of.
Alex, you had your hand up a little bit. Did you want to pitch in?
Sorry, give me a second. It was just about Facebook. I've just been working with kids and I asked them about it. They're like, Facebook is old. We don't have Facebook. And then I said, Facebook's problem now is that nothing that they're doing is about Gen Z. Because a kid broke it down to me. They said, Facebook is for old people. So officially, I'm 29 and I'm old. Instagram is for stalking, which is under Facebook. Snapchat's for communication and TikTok is for dances. And then I was like, wow, Facebook really is being aged out really quickly than it used to be. So now they're looking for a new way to bring children in. So when I hear about Facebook Youth Board and trying to do Instagram Kids, I'm like, how do you bring Gen Z back to Facebook? Because at this moment, they think it's old. Like they have told me I am old now. And these are 13, 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. That's useful. I know that Darren's going to tell me I'm off the agenda a little bit. You'd never do that. Darren.
Tell him, Darren. Tell him you haven't spoken up.
Check your text. Check the chat.
Oh yeah. So hey, how about this? So what Duster Magic is really about is where the rubber hits the road. For those of you that never been to any of this, we like to show products and then have lasers and give feedback. And so we're gonna do that at this point. I know that some folks have to go ride bikes or whatever, and so, but I really want to get some feedback. In addition, I'm really excited that the In the Snow Jack is here, who's a really talented animator, and Patrick is here, who's doing code, and they're making stuff. So what I'm going to do here is, if you want to show something, I'm going to follow these slides, and I'm going to just go ahead and play this, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I should probably, there's no sound to it or anything, so I should probably speak over.
Go ahead.
All right, excellent. So name's François. I think I know most of you guys. Happy to see you. So that's just a quick portion about slice fractions. So just as a reminder of what we were doing, we're doing mat apps, and they're very visual. There's no text or anything. It's all about discovering specific concepts in our apps. And so that one was obviously about fractions. These apps are pretty old, and so we've been looking for the past years at ways to scale that kind of app without taking like years of prototyping every time to try and figure out like good ways to include the learning within the game itself, right? We're trying very much to integrate these two things together, and scaling that to multiple subjects is quite hard, design-wise, right? And so what we've been thinking about is basically how do we represent. Please skip that part. This is a 10 months old video, so parts of it are dated already, but you can if no, meaning you can go back to the video, but maybe you can resume it.
Man, you're picky. Hold on. I think it
around, or you can go back maybe to 1 minute or something like that. Yeah, all right. So the big progress we've been making is basically numbers can mean a lot of things in our app. And so here, what the numbers do is they basically multiply whatever you feed these little machines with, right? And so this allows us to explore a lot of manipulatives that are very, visually different, right? And so what you do as a player is always the same. You always drag numbers into something, and that something does something different and has a different impact in the world. And so another example here is basically you drag numbers, these little boxes, and then that little guy will create something of the height that you want, right? And the main thing that we're trying to keep within the app is basically we don't want to teach kids how to do math. We want to teach them when to use different operations and when to use, in this case, addition, right? You need to fill a hole, and there's a gap, and then you see there's a big gap there. You see there's 16 and 10, and you need yourself to figure out that an addition is what you need to do here, and not a subtraction or multiplication or anything, right? And so it's really about that kind of conceptual understanding rather than, here's how to do operations or something like that, right? So that stayed along. Like that was the same thing we're trying to do in slice sessions. That stayed for this new app here called Mapmakers. We're not going in to compete with any metaverse here, but we are trying to include, have kids be more creative within the app. And to, in this case, create parts of levels. And the whole point of this is to get them used to, basic level creation, but eventually that will lead to a new mode here. For now, we just call it the creative mode, but basically it will allow kids to create their own levels in there and do their own levels with mathematics in it. And so you see a slight shift in gameplay here, what you're basically the ice. So what we do in our game is this ice kind of canceling lava, right? In that case, you're actually an ice character that as he meets ice blocks, he basically grows by the same amount. So quantities still matter. And that allows you to create puzzles like this where, you need to be bigger than the block that was kind of blocking away here, right? And so what we're hoping to do with that game mode is basically we want kids to learn things that we by themselves just by kind of playing with these mathematical elements, right? So again, our goal is not to compete with the metaverse, but we do want kids to be creative with these little puzzles. And by just doing so, they're going to realize some properties of the math objects that they're playing with, right? And so in that case, there's a little gap here. There's like 30 on the right side. There's 30 kind of blocks of lava. So you can see I kind of multiplied myself through the same multiplier that you've seen before. And I realized that I need a lot more ice. And so try to grow, but then it's not enough. Like I don't have enough ice here to get through. And what this particular puzzle can make you realize just by yourself is that order of operation is important, right? And so if you first grow, basically if you do an addition first and then multiply yourself, that's going to lead to a bigger number, right? And that's the kind of stuff that we very much hope we won't have to teach directly, but it's going to be kind of, you know, by just playing with mathematical elements and offering mathematical elements that are kind of compelling to play with, right, by themselves, that kids will make discoveries such as that one just naturally, right? And so that's a game mode that's not out yet. It will be out if you just move to the second slide. It will be out earlier next year. And yeah, I guess ULab as a company has changed quite a bit. We're now offering this as a subscription app. It means a bigger team. It means a lot more content production. Being a subscription app, it means we're going to reach potentially less parents that will be paying the app than if we were just using the premium model, right? But we had to kind of change model ourselves. And so what we want to do is we want to distribute that app for free to schools to kind of compensate that in a way. And we very much want to work with educators to create that kind of levels that I've shown you and teach ways and teach different subjects in their own ways, right? Through their own kind of pedagogical methods and whatnot. And have it, have their kids play for free, their students play for free, basically. So our goal, we don't want to long-term, right? We don't want to cover every subject in mathematics because it takes a lot of time and it's not really efficient to use games for every subject in mathematics. But we want to tackle the subjects that are most important and most counterintuitive in K-5. So I put Let's Talks in there. It's basically just, we just started about like 3 months ago. The feedback is great from the users that are actually trying the app. We need a whole lot more users. And so we're now working in our funnel and screenshots, marketing, all that. And I'm very open with our numbers and whatnot. And so if there are any developers, I know I see a few people in the chat that I've spoken with already, but basically if you have any, if you're interested in chatting about, either the game itself or even the marketing part of it and whatnot, I'm super down to just have a talk. So yeah, I think that's as quick as I could do as far as the overview.
Thank you.
I'm happy to take any questions or anything.
That, my friends, was an 8-minute demo. Nicely done. Darren, do you want lasers on that? Everyone get their lasers out. Alex is going, huh?
I have a question. If I can ask that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you said you have a lot of puzzles in your game. So like, how do you think of certain puzzles that one where the order of operations mattered? Like, how do you come up with those puzzle ideas?
It's a great question. I'll try to build on the process really quickly. It's basically we look at misconceptions in a particular field. So in the case of fractions, there's a lot of misconceptions about what does that number on top mean and what does number on bottom mean. And if we're lucky, there's a big list that research came up with of things that are hard to understand, right? And then that gives us kind of a roadmap of the types of subject or the level design that will the space of the level design, if you will, right? Like subjects that we're trying to tackle. And so once we find a visual representation that allows us to tackle these misconceptions, then it becomes just regular game development at that point. It's basically, here are a few set levels that we know we want to do, and how do we get kids to understand these levels by doing just tutorial progression and whatnot. But the main part, and I think what make these types of games different than more like practice apps and whatnot, is that we actually want kids to fail in our game, right? And we want them to have these misconceptions themselves, and then realize they try it, realize it doesn't work, and then change the way of thinking basically about that subject. I don't know if that answers quickly. I'm happy to go more details later on. But yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, I think you muted, Warren.
I do happen to see that there is another guy that popped in here, Emmett O'Neill. Emmett from Ireland. We were just talking about you. Maybe your ears are burning. About
yeah. So I'm really sorry for joining late. I have my dad here, a very rare occasion, and so dinner ran on a little long. You got to remember, we got a time zone difference here at the moment. So so sorry for joining late.
So glad to see you, and we also have Teo Gray, and you're in the square next to you, so it's fun to get these.
Hey Teo, how you doing?
I am it.
Yeah, very cool. Francois, thank you so much. It looks like an awesome game. When can we review it?
I mean, it could be now, and it could be in a few months too, whenever we have that creative mode. So it's really up to you. I'm happy to take feedback whenever, basically. So yeah, just let me know. Yeah. Oh, I think I tried to reach my email, but I think my emails don't reach you somehow. So let's just try to get in touch. And
well, it is Canada. It's kind of a long way up there.
True, yeah.
Hey, Francois, do you have a potted version? It's great to see the updated product, but do you have a potted version in terms of, as always, you are open on your numbers and all of that side of thing. How are things going on the commercial side, if you didn't cover that off earlier? Like, are you seeing the sort of improvements and hitting the points in the points along the path that you'd like to see yourselves at? I mean, how's all that side of things going for you?
Yeah, no, I haven't touched on it. So we do see, like, I think we chatted about the kind of in-game behavior and conversions and all that. So that hasn't changed. So that's good.
Okay, great.
We do see that people that do try it love the app, an average, right? And that goes well. The main thing that's been harder to scale is ads and kind of visibility, right? And so yeah, so basically we need to do a lot more there, but there's a lot of low hanging fruit. So I'll give you one quick example, but we changed our screenshot in English only right now. We'll do another update. Just by changing our screenshots on the App Store, we like increase conversion by 200%. And so we're really seeing there's a lot of room for growth in the funnel part of it. And that's where we need to focus right now. So, got to be testing going and whatnot.
Are you still getting plenty of, like, you've always got pretty good editorial coverage from an Apple context. Is that still continuing?
Not as much as we would like at this point. And I think part of it is because we shipped early, basically, right? And it said explicitly in the app, early access, we're kind of like getting started. So we're hoping that with that creative mode that I've been demoing, like, we're hoping that whenever that comes out, early next year, that's going to be a good opportunity for that.
I've done that more than once. Just tried to get an app into market really, really quickly, and turned off Apple editorial. And it takes a while to get them back on board, but they do come back. But honestly, I say I've done that a bit. I think every app we've ever shipped in the last 10 years has probably fallen into that trap of being the minimum lovable product, and so yeah, we've it's always tough to get that kind of out of the gate heavy featuring, but usually it does come in time.
Okay, great. It's good to hear. But I mean, on the other side, we're doing a lot of learning and kind of knowing what works with people, what people want, what they don't want to see, and so it's also useful. So it's kind of a dumb if you do, dumb if you don't, right?
And are you spending money on user acquisition at the moment?
Minimally, but we're going to start Google UC. We're doing Apple search ads now, and so these are the types of ads that we can track and know that they actually work. So just so everyone knows, it's ads for parents, and so we very much don't want to do like ads for kids or anything. Like we open the app, it's like you need to be a parent when you open the app and whatnot. So these are the two types we're doing.
And the costs on that have really shot up in recent times. I mean, we're finding it's hard to acquire a user for less than like $2, and
that's also
and when
amazing,
for us, because we've got the products we sell are licensed, so you've also got to factor in the fact that there's a percentage of all of the revenue that'll go back to the licensing partner as well. So we're kind of advertising with one hand tied behind our back. But we have found it easier to scale in advertising recently. For the first time ever, we always struggled to spend more than 10, 20 grand or something like that. And but we have found we've recently been able to somewhat profitably scale. But it's really hit and miss.
Christmas too. That's good.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is we've also started using Firebase because we can do attribution in a kids category compliant way. So we ultimately know we've switched analytics platform so that we can use more than like Apple ads are the only qualified ads that we can use right now. But yeah, we've switched so that we can use the full plethora of other networks.
Okay, I'll for sure send you an email with a few questions on that one. Thank you.
And speaking of Spider-Man,
yeah. So Yeah, we're pretty excited about that.
Emma, can you give us just some quick headlines on what's new from Story Toys?
Well, I suppose, you know, the thing is, like, with it's one of the things I love about making Lego products is you can prototype with like not just paper, but actually with toys. So we're making this in app form, and that's going to be out just in mid-December. And actually, it's not just Spider-Man and Ghost Spider and all of those guys. It's also, you know, there's a really nice Captain America set that we're working on. And what I love about it is it's you know, working on Captain America, the team were like, oh, you know what, Duplo don't actually have a villain for Captain America. Like, there's no Red Skull. There's, you know, what are we going to do with this? I'm like, what do you mean? What are you going to do with it? It's Captain America. You know, make a product. Like, make something amazing. You're getting a chance to work in Captain America. Like, yeah, but what's he going to do? He's got nobody to fight. I'm like, Captain America is the best of all of us. He just helps. So this is an opportunity to make something that just models good behavior, shows somebody going around helping people in all sorts of different situations where they need help, getting themselves into trouble again, and then helping them again tirelessly. So we're, you know, that's the kind of angle we're that's the angle we're taking with Captain America. Then the Spider-Man stuff is there is a villain, and there's kind of little silly fights where the villain tries to rob pizza and all of that kind of thing, and then you gotta shoot them with webs, working together as a team, again emphasizing teamwork. And yeah, it's gonna launch basically with just 2 packs. The Captain America pack will be completely free, and it's a really good pack. And then there'll be a single in-app purchase, which will be the Spidey pack. Now, when we made Lego Duplo World, you know, we didn't release that as a subscription product initially. It was all in-app purchases, and we got a lot of complaints because parents would buy in-app purchases and then they'd say, "Hang on, you've released more content. Why do I now have to pay for more content? Because I've bought content off you previously." So we found there was a level of frustration in that context. So this time around, we are actually going to allow people to either buy the pack or just subscribe, because, you know, we're going to make a ton of additional, you know, we've Hulk coming out we'll have Hulk coming out very soon after. We'll have lots of, we've demonstrated on Lego Duplo World that we can update every couple of months. So we'll do that. And so we'll offer a subscription, and it'll just be like a $10 annual subscription, right from the get-go, you know.
Well, congratulations, Emmett, on everything you've achieved, and the road from you know, since I've known you and seen your work, and it is really for you students a testament to how quality equals magic equals eventual success, but it takes a while. And so it's great to see you guys still having the lights on and making some good stuff that a lot of kids are using.
It's actually, like, thank you, Warren. It has like, you know, everybody will recall, and I've, you know, I'm always pretty open with this group, but you know, just 2 years ago, I really was, it should be time to throw in the towel at this point. This is too hard. There are easier ways to make money. And yet, you know, 2 years later, we have a better roadmap of products than ever before. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff I wish I could talk about, but can't, beyond Spider-Man and what have you. We've a lot of really cool stuff coming out over the course of 22, 23, and you know, and everybody's done well out of things, and, you know, everybody's enjoying the work that they're doing. And as you say, there's literally, you know, I don't know, 5-10 million kids playing this stuff pretty frequently, and you know, downloading regularly. And we're really trying to deliver on you know, making the best experiences that we can for kids, as we always have. But it's really nice that seems to be resonating, and people are actually paying for that content in a way that they maybe weren't a couple of years ago.
Well, Scott, you've got something up there. Do you want to tell us what you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. And I just put this together quickly. I wasn't thinking I'd be coming here to demo, but I certainly do want to share what we have new that's out. Our Encantos app launched about a little around 4 weeks ago. And just as some backstory, I was brought on to Encantos to help build out their digital offerings. You know, I've been with the company now, I think 7 months, 8 months. And when I originally heard the vision of what the company wanted to build, I said, oh, well, we should have something in the market in 18 months. And they said, no, you've got 6. So I'm actually working with about 7 different teams around the globe. One of them you'd be familiar with. I'm working with Matt Kiev really closely, and I talk with Jack Minsky every now and then. Yeah.
My God.
So, and I try to figure out who I can bring in to help from time to time. But this app that's out, and I provide a link and a code so you can test it out. I'd love to hear your feedback, good or bad. And there are a number of things that I'm not particularly happy with this right now, because we did race to get this out. And at the moment we're improving, like we're watching the metrics screen by screen, and we said like, okay, the fall off is happening here, so let's apply our effort there and see if we can improve retention as well as engagement. But if you download it and take a look at it, what you're seeing now and what this will be in another 6 months are 2 drastically different apps. Where currently we're offering up a lot of content from diverse authors, a lot of creators that may not be able to get a publishing deal, that may not be able to be seen or heard. And so we've created a vehicle to help to bring voices that are ordinarily not heard, their content to life. And so we talk with a lot of really diverse creators that are, you know, they may be children's book authors, they may have a video series. We also try to be bilingual in our product. And one of the challenges we have right now is historically the company has been working in kind of the 2 to 4 year old space, and we're trying to age it up to 6 and bringing other licensed content in. But the thinking behind this is, really, we've built a shell. This is a native shell that we can drop content in, measure it, see how it performs, and if it's not performing, rip it out. But the whole concept about where we're going with this is to create tools for storytellers and creators to be able to add their content to this app over time. So those tools we're in the process of building out right now, but you would never know it through this app. It was all about making a really flexible native container that iOS would love, that Apple would love. It's iOS, and we have an Android version as well, but we haven't launched it. And the longer term vision is to create a platform for the creator economy, for people who want to tell stories that don't have access to publishers and publishing deals or networks, to be able to showcase their stories through our app.
Oh, it's a metaverse.
Well, it's funny you should say it. We don't call it a metaverse, and there, the CEO, Stephen Wolf-Pierre, does refer to it as the storyverse, that it's an area where people can come to tell their stories. So yeah. Oh, that's great. Encantos verse. I love it. Alex, thank you. I'll share that back with Stephen. He'll love that. So this is a bit of a journey, and it has been quite a race just to get a product out now. And it's funny hearing you say, Emmett, about cost per acquisition. Now going into the holidays where the costs go up because everybody else is trying to get eyeballs. You could argue maybe there's a benefit because there's a real shortage of toy product this year. So maybe, hopefully, children and families will turn to apps or other digital entertainment vehicles. But I'd be happy to answer any questions with what I'm sharing here. And again, I would love to hear your feedback if you have the chance to take a look at the app.
I'll have a look, Scott. Thanks for sharing that. And it's good to see you again and see that you're making stuff and using all your years and years of experience. Scott is a pioneer with 360 Kid, and just got a lot of it. It ain't his first rodeo. I think it's fair to say.
And I'd say, I think almost every one of you, although I haven't had the chance to meet many of your students yet, we talk about very specific people who I've met in Duster Magic over the years, and very specific things that they've said or tried or have done comes up every day. Every day.
I remember Scott said, you got to get this guy Lane Merrifield to come and show this thing called Club Penguin. I'm like, oh, really? That's a gimmick. That'll never be nothing. So that was pretty cool. I think he showed us some real early Club Penguin. And also, I remember Mitch Resnick said, I'm going to show you this thing called Scratch. It's really weird, whatever. It's, like Scratch. What kind of name is that? On your screen right now is a non-photoshopped, really cool use of two projectors, I would say.
That's I took this with the panoramic view out of my iPhone when Teo was presenting the Disney animation app, and I think everyone in the room was so blown away by these screens. It was quite the moment.
Yeah, Teo, all of our seniors watch your talk that you did,
Really?
I think, on the airplane on the way to Duster Magic. I remember you told me you hacked into the airplane's Wi-Fi and downloaded some stuff, and you just shaved off your beard, which was a big announcement, I think.
Yeah, right. That was a new girlfriend. It's still mostly gone.
Well, just a reminder to everyone that this is being recorded and will be widely shared. This
right.
If you're talking
yeah, no, we're still together, so it's okay. I can say that. But yeah, you need a lot of pixels to appreciate that image. I think that was like one of the things I liked most about the iPads, that they actually have enough pixels that you could do this. It wasn't really realistic until Retina screens.
That is an awesome picture. Next up, we've got a complete beginning, guys, and I'm hoping you can give some bandwidth to if we give 5 minutes to the team from Mason and Strings. This is a group that's just beginning. They went to their first show. They showed this product, and I think the animators here, Jack, Patrick, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so we're students at TCNJ. We made our first game, Mason and Strings, and we have just started trying to put it out there, develop it further. It started off as just a student project last semester, and we're making it into something a bit larger. And I noticed we shared a trailer, in the slide there, that we can play to see some gameplay.
Do you want to share your screen?
If we want to do a live demo, I can share my screen, or you can just play the trailer. And
why don't you play it?
Okay.
Live is better.
Just a little more pressure, Patrick, but you're good.
It's just a little more pressure. Fine. Let's see. It says host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh no, I didn't do that.
I think you can allow it.
Wait, can I do that? Oh, yeah. Okay. I just changed it. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Try it now.
Oh, all right, there we go. I'm hoping this isn't too loud as well. So let's.
Are you guys seeing it?
Try this. Hold on, here we go. All right. Let's see. All right. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, so loading. All right, so this is our game, Mason and Strings. You start off, you're a 14-year-old girl, Mason, and you want to perform at the castle concert. So you talk to your sentient guitar friend here, Strings, and you guys have to get together to, I'm just gonna skip the dialogue since we're limited on time. But so yeah, so you you go out, you want to collect sheet music to become a master musician so you can perform at the concert. So you explore, you want to learn how to play your guitar. So to the best of your ability. So our puzzles involve playing different guitar chords as well as just other basic mechanics that just add to more of the fun platforming aspect. Like here, you can talk to the bunny to learn how to play. You can skip it if you want. And we have a little grapple so you can just swing. And then let me just get to where we play the guitar. Okay, so this is our main mechanic, which is the chord wheel. So you can pull it out and you can freely move it, and you can press the different buttons to play different guitar chords. You can hear the guitar feedback, and they shoot out little waves, and they're color coded depending which chord you play. So you want to match the chords with the correct colors and to solve little puzzles in the world. That lets you continue, and the music cuts out at or it's lowers when you play the guitar, so that you can really just focus on your playing rather than hearing the background music. And see, so that's had E minor. I fell off, my bad. Just respawn, checkpoint. And Jack, do you want to talk a little bit about the art direction?
Yeah, so the art direction, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. The art direction was inspired a lot by the cartoons that I watched growing up on Cartoon Network, like Regular Show and Adventure Time. And it was very much a love letter to that era of animation. And I really wanted to capture the spirit of that because I've never really experienced that in a game. I thought it was sort of a new possibility, untapped potential.
And so as I'm going over here, there's a lot of different ways that we wanted to implement this unique mechanic. One of them is playing songs for people. So Mason has a big crush on Tilly here. So she wants her to play a little song. So you gotta memorize which chord she wants. And you can play. Now you get a little music sheet. So the goal of the game, you collect enough music sheets, it allows you to enter the concert at the end of the game. And here's another one of our puzzles where you are on, since when you pull out the wheel, you're stationary. So we wanted to implement a new way for you to move while still playing the guitar. Get a little feedback to let you know that you did the puzzle correctly. And I was able to go through quickly because we designed the puzzle. And going to our first convention allowed us to get a lot of useful feedback that we've been implementing into the game. Like we've been still developing after our first conference, because we've gotten a lot of playtesters of various ages. Kids took to the game a lot easier than the adults did. We were surprised to see they got a hang of the mechanics a lot faster. And it was a very heartwarming experience. And it's great, and it gives us the motivation to continue development on it and get the feedback that we need. And on the slideshow, I can also share it in the chat, is a playable demo that you can play in the browser as well. So once you beat the first level, it really opens up. You can explore the world, talk to the inhabitants. The world building and characters are a big highlight of the game, I'd say. And yeah, since I don't want to run too long, we can take any questions or feedback.
Patrick, just wondering, did you build like a level designer first and then make levels with that, or have you built each of the levels manually? And also, how much total have you built?
Yes, so we built each level manually. We would get Jack, the artist, would make the assets for the platforms, and then we manually put the platforms into each of the levels. And so we have, I'd say, 4 to 5 major big levels where you can explore, as well as smaller areas. Like you can enter every single building. Like this is just a cute little pizza shop you can go into and talk to people. So like this is just a small little level, but the levels where you can explore and collect the sheet music, we've made about four of those.
It looks super. It looks really fun, and I'm a huge Adventure Time and Steven Universe fan as well. So it's nice to see the kind of the art style giving a hat tip in that direction. It's lovely, really lovely. Well done, nice work.
Thank you. Yeah.
We also put a big. Oh, I'm sorry. You can go.
Great. I want to say, just from like the development side of television, I want to say this is one of the best games I've seen that, to me, lend itself to a lot of merge and bringing different sides. Like, my question is, do you all like have a book or some type of tutorial that have all the information about every character? Because this definitely seems like, to me, if there was a T-shirt, if there was a backstory, people would sit online in a fandom and read all about it.
Ooh, yeah, Jack, you want to talk a little bit?
I mean, you're wearing the T-shirt right now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, we do.
You can show that
We
up.
have a little shirt. We gave out stickers and stuff of our characters at the convention, and so we've created a giant cast of characters, I'd say, and that's I love the idea of expanding more on the universe in like a book form, because right now it's self-contained in the game. We don't really go outside of that, but I think that would be really cool to explore further.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I love the idea of doing a book that sort of explains all the lore and stuff. And we have a lot of secrets in the game too. We won't show them off because they're top secret, but we did put an emphasis on like having replayability, like finding new things every time.
Yeah, because right now it's a very short, condensed experience. Since it's our first project, we want to put it out there for free. People to just get to know us, get to know our branding, our sort of style.
So have you published it? Is it available?
Yeah, hold on, let me stop sharing so that I can pull up. Yeah, so it's available to play right now on itch.io, and we're getting a Steam release. A Steam release should be up next month. Our page should be up within a few days, actually. We just got accepted. We're just filling out all the required forms right now.
What's your play time at the moment? Like, I mean, if say somebody's coming to it fresh, plays it through, not you guys, I'm sure you can speed run it, but but yeah, what's the kind of play time on it?
Right now, for a full playthrough, it would probably take people about 2 hours, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm trying to find the link. Sorry. Yeah, we have the link to our website on the slideshow, and here is a playable version that you can just play in browser. It works with either your keyboard or controller.
Great. Well, you just lost your audience.
It works either way.
Oh yeah, if it's on, are you all gonna do something on Twitch for this?
We have discussed that, right, Jack?
When we went to the convention, we were talking to a lot of other developers because we're so new. We don't really know a lot of the different ways you can get a game out there. And a lot of the developers told us, yeah, like to build a community around your game, Twitch is the best platform. So we've been planning some things. We have made a TikTok account. And we're just trying to build community that way and not trying to advertise too much, but more just trying to be like, here's a fun experience.
It's the music. I really feel like it's the music that will drive people towards the TikTok, like all the music in here. If you find different ways to ingrain this in the TikTok scenarios, even if you have like people jumping off of beds with guitars, it lends itself to something that someone at home can do so they can feel connected to the actual product.
Thank you guys all for your feedback on behalf of In the Snow Studios.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think we can all say we knew them then. You actually, Teo and Emmett and Mark, you guys are teaching these guys more than you know, and Darren. We talk about nice touches a lot, and Barbara, and it's all kind of the same, and Scott, it's all the same stuff. So thank you. We've got like 4 more demos that I saw have popped up, which is great. The deck is growing, and you can play Mason and String. Alex, I have a meta example for you, metaverse. I couldn't see your screen, Patrick, as you were sharing. I don't know what was going on. I couldn't actually see what you're showing. So what I did is I pinned Vince's screen, and I could see the reflection in his glasses to see what, I mean, if that's not meta, it doesn't get any more meta than that. All right, so off we go to the next slide. Okay, here we go. Brain Pop X.
Yeah, I don't have a demo or much to show, but I started at Brain Pop a while ago, and many of you have heard and seen from me and Tiny Bop and Tokaboka and Tiggly and Homer. So I've been around the block, but I just started at Brain Pop, and their next big thing, they are obviously very, very successful in teaching students in a school context. And so their next big bet is kind of how can we teach kids in an at-home learning environment. So we're building a brand new from nothing, just like Toka TV. I was given the prompt, like build TV you can touch. Now I'm given the prompt, build a product that revolutionizes at-home learning. So I just want you all to know that this is happening. We're really competing in this kind of after-school enrichment space with being the most playful kind of learning product in the market, and really focusing on, I was so fascinated when I started at Brain Pop, and no one ever mentions the word kids. They all mention the word students, because in the context of Brain Pop so far, it's all been about students in classrooms, and really a lot of their design is focused on what do teachers, what do admins need? And so this is really like a total mindset switch for the people of Brain Pop. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to it. There was a beta that started basically the same day that I did. And we're rethinking and kind of getting ready, and we'll probably have a product out in September, and all of you brilliant people may be getting a call from me. So that's all I have to say about it. Thanks, Warren.
I know, Abby, that you guys started in Flash, making a bunch of Flash videos, or Brain Pop did. And then what's the platform that you use now to create?
We don't know. So the beta was a web browser. And so obviously being a kids at home product, it will not be web-based going forward, but it's all TBD in terms of, do we build in Unity? Do we build natively? We are at the very, very, very beginning of concepting.
I always like to ask what tools you guys are using, and if you've got advice, in particular, like Emmett or Mark, is Unity a good path to a good wagon to hitch your horse to, a good horse to whatever I'm trying to say.
Unity is a pain in the ass, but it's still the best pain in the ass out there, you know.
I think one thing we learned at Toka, we spent many months going down the wrong path because, and this was, in antiquity, but back then video and Unity did not play well together. And I haven't been back into Unity for quite a while. So we'll have to see how much video we're actually using in Brain Pop X, and how that all works. So it really does depend on, again, like getting a concept hammered out before we define the technology we use.
The one
So
outside of that,
we're using video and we're using Unity both, and it's part of the problem for us is that we wanted to do a lot of animation, and Unity animators are expensive, but Flash animators are cheap. And the first thing that we were able to do is our lead of our programming team just put together a conversion program so we could go straight from, we could assemble everything in Flash and take it right into Unity. So that's lowered our development costs quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what we did at Homer. We used HTML5 developers, and then we kind of, not Unity, but built into sort of a native sort of proprietary video / game player. So that's also a possibility.
It may be worth saying we fight these tool wars on a daily basis as well, where we're native for a reason to be able to be portable and go wherever we want. And that also means not using React. Our shell currently does use Unity, but we're moving away from it and investing more in HTML5 within a native shell. But then, you start to realize why these tools are important in getting to other platforms. But if you're less worried about Android then, or playing outside of the US, I think it's the bigger issue here. These are the decisions that drive the tool choice.
And this is how the sausage is made, is Steve Jobs.
I say it all the
time. What's this slide?
That's me. I'm back.
Oh, tell us about it.
My sons had fun. They're happy. So yeah, I'm back. This is Colleen didn't go over this, did she?
Nope.
No. Yeah. So Colleen was my grad student, and she was involved in this. We developed. We actually got to work with Fred Rogers Productions back in the day. They had made 3 ebooks, and they because we had this little bit of money and they knew Colleen, they agreed to add Ramon into the ebooks as a character that would do what's called dialogic questioning, which is asking open-ended questions while you're reading a story. There's tons of research showing that dialogic questioning helps kids learn language. So yeah, we put the character in on each page of an ebook. And so they had their 3 ebooks that are on the website, on the PBS Kids website. Yeah. We added the 3 to one of the ebooks. We added the character in. We didn't use the actual voice actor. He was too expensive, but they had an African-American male voice, brilliant, wonderful voice. So it was an adult character suggesting to parents how to ask questions. And yeah, we've done a bunch of studies with this now. We not only got more conversation, more conversational turns, higher quality conversations, but we also got all these wonderful parenting outcomes where parents and kids were cooperating better and had better positive emotion while they were reading. So we got both language and better parenting going on at the same time, kind of as an extra value added. So I'm about to retire in 3 semesters. And I would love to consult with people if they're interested in this, they find this idea intriguing. And we'd like to figure out if there's a way that we haven't done the research yet. If kids use this by themselves, would they learn this stuff anyway, just by doing it solo? Yeah. So if anybody has any interest in that, please now or in the future, get in touch with us.
I noticed.
You guys know Colleen, so you can get in touch with her if you'd prefer to talk to her.
I can tell you're a really good professor because I could control what you're talking about by moving the slide. It was great.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm kind of used to talking to people.
I think it's the tail wagging the dog there, but I was just exploring and I noticed you're like, wow, she's fast. She's adaptive. That's Mark.
Yeah, came back with a full belly and I'm ready to talk.
Yeah, that the whole idea, again, child development is like gravity. It's the science behind all these products, and it's where the magic is. And so
I don't know how to do this stuff that you guys do.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always play, and it's always, there is a lot of really good thinking about language and this dialogic style.
Which just means having a dialogue, having a conversation with your kid.
Right. Mark, I know you studied this a little bit too in what you're doing, and
yeah, Barbara and I've been doing quite a bit of this, and we're actually going to talk to Georgine a little bit after this. But because we're in the middle of this co-play piece, we spend a lot of time thinking about how we can. You're talking to 2 screens at once, So you can talk to the adults or the older loved ones, we call them the OLOs, and the younger loved ones. And we can put something on this screen that this one doesn't see. So we can give nudges to the grandparents to do just what you're talking about here, Georgine.
Yeah. Another big trend that we haven't really talked about, that this will be tomorrow when we all wake up. We're gonna have a really great dinner tonight in the Riverside room, and we're gonna have 2 kinds of wine, and then we're gonna wake up in the morning.
The wrong kind of beer, Warren.
The wrong kind of beer again.
The wrong kind of beer. You have a beer for Emmett. I would talk to Alice Wilder, who worked with Blue's Clues, and the power of just pausing. And I said, Alice, could you come? And I invited her to speak somewhere, and she said, no, I'm working at Apple. And the point I'm making is that with Netflix and Disney Plus and the streaming services, there's a huge demand now for content. And we mentioned Bluey, right? Bluey.
We did.
Yeah, just if you haven't seen that, by all means, that's the one show you need to watch. Yeah.
Even if you don't have a kid in your house, it's worth watching.
Yeah, and what it does is it models play patterns. Does anyone know what Alice is working on at Apple TV? It's going to be interesting, so keep your eye on it. She's gone under.
She's working with Tara Sorensen, but the research you're quoting from Alice was actually Dan Anderson out of UMass.
My buddy.
Amherst. Yeah, I mean, well, he's the one who really researched that pause, that you see in Dora the Explorer and Blue's Clues, where it's like, oh, what's your favorite color? Mine too. Just taking advantage of that pause. But that's, while Alice was involved in that work, that's Dan Anderson's work too.
And therein lies the magic. And so y'all got your money's worth today. I think we did it. We did. That was my last slide. I'll stop sharing, and I'll just turn it over to you guys. This was a great Duster Magic.
Very affordable.
Yeah, you got twice your money's worth.
Still wish I could be in the same room with all of you.
Yeah,
we missed you, Scott.
Second that.
Yeah. Well, I will do my best to try to pull off this this thing at Asilomar. I'm really enjoying teaching at TCNJ. It's keeping me out of trouble, and we survived the pandemic, and all is well here. The ship is tight in New Jersey. I am doing a lot of playing in 3 groups right now, and that's keeping me good. So I hope you guys are all good as well, and it's really great to see so many friends. It's a wonderful family.
Wait, I know it's still kind of late on to like the extras, but could I actually just share the basic concept of my game real quick? I'm not going to show much, just like some slides I showed in class a few weeks ago.
Yeah, what do you got, Dustin?
Actually, I'm going to go. Thank you, guys. It's good to see you all.
See you, Mark. Take care.
Bye, Mark.
Bye, Scott.
See, share screen. Let me show you. Okay, can you see that?
Do you guys see it? Because I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sure. Okay, so my game is called Missing Magic, and it's a 3D platform puzzle game, and the story basically goes like this: Qere, Latin for search. It's just a kid. He wants to play and have fun with his best friend Socius, Latin for ally. Unfortunately, Quere's father is a mean old grump, and his dad doesn't, really let him play a lot. But then one day, his father makes him go out in the woods and find him something valuable, and Quere and Socius go out and look for an item of value, like his dad said, and they come across a magic egg, the same magic that his father doesn't even believe in, and they are able to hatch the magic egg, and out comes a newborn bird called Inoshinti, Latin for innocent. And due to, and then the bird takes them to this magic word, to this magic world called Perdita. That's Latin for lost. And the world's not doing well due to actions of power-hungry demons. Their magic is becoming weaker every day, and this has a direct impact on Earth. And it makes hate on Earth spread, and that explains why Ku'erai's father is such a meanie. So in order to restore positivity on Earth, Ku'erai has to defeat the demons in Perdita. So here are some of the characters I have. That's Ku'erai, that's Socius, and that's Innocenti. I just did these in Blender, and I rigged them, and I had them walking around in my game right now. And that's the basic objective. So it's a platform puzzle game. So kind of like a platform game where you have to jump from cliff to cliff and defeat the bad guys, kind of like in Mario. We have that, but then it's also has a lot of puzzles, like in the app, The Room, if you ever saw that. So like at one level, I'm gonna have it, so you have to find 3 apples. You have to find apples to get the egg to hatch. And in order to find the apples, you have to solve certain puzzles. Like one of them is inside a safe, and you have to figure out how to open the safe. And then I'm not gonna tell you what the combination to the safe is. You have to figure that out yourself. I'm gonna have like maybe like numbers carved on a tree or something, and I'm not going to tell you that those numbers are the safe's combination. You just have to make that connection yourself. Like, oh, safe, numbers on a tree. Oh, maybe that's the combination. And maybe they make it even matters even harder. Maybe I'll have the numbers actually be backwards. So I like in the little arrow of the set that, a little backwards arrow saying carved on a tree too. So when someone sees the arrow, they say, oh, it's a backwards combination. So like they might try the combination once, forward once. Oh, they realize that doesn't work. And then they have to go back and look at it again and say, oh, wait, it's supposed to be backwards. So it's working puzzles like that.
Do you want some feedback?
Yes, any questions or concerns or comments would be nice. I do have like a little bit of a demo. It's like I haven't done much. I can really do my games walk around right now. I don't know if you want to see that. Yeah.
Well, I think some general feedback would be good. I mean, if you, I got to let people go because I'm breaking my 2-hour rule.
I'd just say maybe as far as like puzzles are concerned, they've been like most of my focus, I guess, in the past too long. But the main thing I would just say is just like try to play test it as soon as possible and put it in front of someone, because the more experience I get, the more I realize I know nothing about not puzzle design, but just like in general, like it's really hard to put yourself in the shoes of players before you actually see them in front of it. So that would be the first thing I would do, is like even just prototype one room with that puzzle maybe that you mentioned, if that's the first one you want to do, and just see how they react.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, Francois. I would add to that, even before you go to the trouble of building everything in Unity, some level of paper prototyping and playing the concepts through with friends even, and just waiting to see, can they figure out your, like, you were with me until you said, and there's going to be an arrow and it's going to be backwards, and it's like, okay, fair enough. Test it, see if people can figure it out. It's really solid advice, but do it ideally before you actually build the whole world as well. Just test the smallest things you can test and the cheapest things you can test.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice idea though.
I think also start small and have people be successful, and then as a result of the success, then things can start to become more and more complicated, and then they can start to that's also leveling. Think of it in terms of the leveling. Don't try and do too much on that first level.
As Dustin's thesis advisor, I can brag on him a little bit that it's fun when a smart mind bumps into something like Unity, and to see kind of like every week he tries out, brings a new thing into it. And so this feedback is wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Justin,
Alex?
just randomly pitch this to people who are not in this space. Cause I kind of find it like, I kind of look at myself as, I know what y'all talking about, but this is not my world. I come from production life. And it's kind of just like, I'm sorry, what did you say? This is a little bit too complicated for me. So just bring it down for like other people like me. Cause it's like, you're giving me a full course meal. I only need one course. Just give me one course and then give me the next course and then the next course.
Alex, you gotta be our merch consultant for sure. Darren, you've been awfully quiet. That's unusual.
I'm behaving myself.
You are. I can't wait to get some good wisecracks out of you at a Silomar next spring, and maybe we can afterward we can go try to get up Yosemite.
That sounds good.
Mark and Barbara, any fires near your house?
Not right now. We've been having a lot of rain, some mudslides.
Good. When can we see that canoe thing?
We're launching. We've got, we've got some pre-order sales of that on the website, and we are working towards our launch goals.
All right, good. I hope tell Jim hi. Emmett, when does Spider-Man launch?
I don't know, sometime kind of close to when the Spider-Man movie comes out was what I looked for, and I had some contractual back and forth with Marvel around release windows. So I think it's, I should know these things, but I think it's like, I don't know, whatever the Thursday closest to the 15th is, something like that of December. So not too far off.
Thank you for being so generous as always, Emmett. Teo, the book that you're working on, when does that launch?
Oh, well, books are on a whole other time scale. They're like on Miller's Planet or something. So the Engines book, which I'm completely finished with, it's in layout, it'll be Christmas 2022. And the Tools book is Christmas 2023.
Wow.
I mean, it's like nothing happens in less than a year in the print. Well, in the specifically the color coffee table print world, where you're doing color proofs in Singapore and they sit on a boat for 3 months, and it's amazing what a different world it is, just time scale wise. By the way, Max says hello. He has guests on his little island retreat and wasn't able to join us. And I realized I joined an hour late because of time zones. So,
well,
arriving in America.
Hey, you might want to think about making an app out of that Engines book one of these days, eh?
It would be so nice if, all these books, I would love it. The one before that, the Things book, it would be fantastic as an app. But, we just don't have infinite money to throw away. And we tried so hard to make that model of, super interactive, highly, illustrated, high production value, like a coffee table book, except as an interactive app. And, I think we're not the only ones who failed in making that a commercially viable enterprise.
You tried it, then we tried it again with your stuff. And
yeah, we've all tried results. It. And, there's not that I have anything against games and all, but, like you can make money with games. You can't do it making books. Now, in the print world, on the other hand, you actually can. It's kind of surprising. We're in 2020, whatever it is now. And, print books are a highly successful commercial enterprise, as are apps, but just not, and as are ebooks for that matter, but just not, the intersection of beautiful, full color, interactive, expensive to produce ebooks like we wanted to make.
Well, I'm still a believer. In my case, my argument would be X-ray, where you could actually X-ray the engine and see the pistons inside, and then turn it and look closely.
Well, of course, we have. So, do you know about mechanicalgifts.com? We actually sell transparent acrylic models of engines, among other things, and there'll be more coming out next year for exactly that reason, because you want to see inside. And that's what we photograph to put in the books is the acrylic models.
Fascinating. And, you know, and the constant here is curiosity, and you've got a better mechanism for letting somebody explore content than linear media, which basically, or a print media, which basically pushes content at you. So
yeah, oh, I mean, it's incredibly frustrating to be in the print book business as opposed to the app business. I mean, it has its, you know, it has its good points, but you know, I am constantly dealing with the fact that how on earth am I supposed to communicate how this thing works when all I can do is show you one picture that doesn't move from one viewpoint on a dead tree? It's like, come on, it's ridiculous. But you know, there you go. We tried.
Teo, since it's 2021, and you know, this is the end, I promise, of this session. But this is worth it. This is what you've been waiting for here. I want to ask Teo this question. Can you tell us the story of the elements?
The story of the elements.
Story of the elements, the app, the elements.
The app, the elements, right?
And,
yeah.
And how it came to be that Steve Jobs picked that app to to introduce the iPad.
Okay, well, so this was supposed to be a big secret, but I have a blog post on it now. I think, you know, he's dead. Enough time has passed. So.
And this is being recorded too, by the way.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have a blog post and I really don't think anybody cares anymore. I hope, but if anybody did, it probably would be people in this meeting. Well, so I mean, you know, you remember there was a period of time between the announcement of the iPad. You know, there's going to be an iPad was announced, like, I think it was December or something, 2009, maybe early January. But then it didn't actually ship until 2 months later, basically, maybe a little more. And so what was not widely known at the time, because it was a deep, dark Apple secret that you get shot for revealing, is that there were about, I understand, about 30 prototype iPads that were sent out to select people. The conditions were you had to have a special room that only 1 or 2 people had a key to, like not even the janitors are not allowed in there. Nobody's allowed in this room. It came in a case, like a big plastic frame around it. So you couldn't tell, you know, how thick is it? What does it weigh? You couldn't really tell anything. You could just get to the screen. And you had to bolt this thing to a desk. We didn't have a good desk, so I bolted it to a 150-pound wrecking ball that I happened to have in my office. You know, it was tied down with a cable. It was locked up in a broom closet. And, you know, people saw me and this and one other guy basically go into this broom closet together every morning and stay there all day and come back out again. And we wouldn't say what we were doing in there. And, you know, we had 2 months of actually having this physical iPad before anybody else did. And, you know, they wanted us to produce a Mathematica, you know, Wolfram Alpha or something like that related app, which we did kind of. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to that. That was the other guy. But you know, the Elements book in print form had just come out earlier in 2009. And I had been thinking for some time that, you know, they're really, like, I had rotational photography of all the objects that are in that print book. I was thinking, like, how could I do this? What platform? How could I sell this as an ebook where you could spin it? And there just wasn't a platform to do that. And then this thing just landed in my lap. Like, oh my God, this is the thing. This is the device that exists for the purpose of making my book work as an ebook. And, you know, it's like Steve Jobs descending with a tablet in his hand from whatever mountain that is that you descend from with tablets. And, you know, and so it's like, there was no question. Like, I called up my friend Max and said, just forget it, drop everything. I don't care what you're doing. We're going to spend the next 2 months. We're going to build this product and it will be amazing.
And it's gold.
And it's gold, right? And so we did that. And, you know, I think one of my greatest accomplishments in the field of product marketing, which is basically my only such accomplishment, is pointing out to Apple that they were going to have a big problem in marketing the iPad as an ebook reader, because the Kindle was so much better in every possible way as an ebook reader. The battery life is like 3 weeks. It has a screen you can read in bright sunlight. it's got a library of 1 million books already, and they had many 20,000 or something in the, Apple's ebook bookstore get ready to go for the iPad. It's going to be a great web browser, a great email tool, whatever, a great game platform, but a terrible ebook reader. And there's nothing they could do about that unless they were to redefine people's perceptions of what an ebook is to something that won't run on a Kindle. In other words, it needs color, it needs motion, it needs activity, something you can't do on an e-ink screen. And I say, oh, by the way, I happen to have an example of such a thing that you might be able to use to show people what do you mean by like all those stupid antique, PDF file ebooks. That's yesterday, forget it. This is an ebook. And who cares how many, though, the old kind they have on a Kindle. You want the thing that'll let you get this kind of book. And so that like they bought into that line of reasoning, and we had a good go at it for a couple of years. And then it turns out the PDFs actually won. The static PDF file ebook is the one that's commercially successful, and this beautiful vision of castles in the sky of interactivity, as a new form of ebook, did not win, which is disappointing. But there you go. It was a good idea. It just didn't happen to work out that way. At least not this iteration. Who knows? Maybe something else will come on. Maybe VR. VR could be possibly a place where this happens the way it should have happened last time, but didn't.
Well, Teo, I just want to tell you, I was one of the other 15 that got the iPad.
Well, good. So yeah, I think that the reason for the secrecy was that all the people would be jealous that they didn't have one.
That's a lie.
I see. Well, yeah. Because you can imagine some hard feelings that people's like, wait a minute, how come they got one and I didn't?
I don't know if you remember, but before the iPad was announced, Time Magazine had released a video of something they were working on that looked an awful lot like the iPad.
I didn't remember that, but yeah, that probably got them in hot water.
I'm sure it did. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bjorn Jeffrey was also put on a think tank team of Tokaboka to sort of, a lot of people were working on this smart at Bonnier over in Sweden, working on this idea of a device like this. But it's now 11 years now since that happened, and we, it's kind of fun to look back and say, hey, at least we have a blog post now. We can understand the backstory of what led to that moment. And one of my favorite apps of all time, and $14 I paid for this. So
yeah, well, I think it's still $14, isn't it? It's we didn't lower the price. And what blows my mind is that of all the apps that we ever made at Touch Press, the Elements, which has not been modified in any significant way other than just to make sure it keeps running, it's still the best seller. And it's still, it's not like it's a huge moneymaker, but I get a check every few months for an 11-year-old app, unmodified as it was 11 years ago. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I really don't. It's not like we've done anything to keep that up, unless Emmett did a whole bunch of stuff that was.
I think we added 1 or 2 additional elements. That was about it.
Yeah, well, there was some new ones that were named, right? So we had to change the names.
Exactly. But no. That, as you say, if you look at even the sophistication of apps like Disney Animated afterwards, which were, like obviously completely different subject matter, one would think infinitely more accessible to a wider audience. But the content and the breadth of content that was in that app, it's staggering. That should have been the absolute knock it out of the park success. It broke my heart that we never actually got to release that. But Elements was the one. Elements was the one I think that resonated, stayed in people's memory, and it was a stunning piece of work. Anyway, folks, I've got to head off. Lovely to see you all, and hope to catch up in person soon.
I'll close off the whole meeting now for everybody. So
bye.
Thank
you,
folks.
So
it's a pleasure meeting you all.
Good to see you.
Great to see you all. Bye-bye.
Bye. And now,
You're just so chatty.
Vince, thanks for having your glasses on. You let me keep up with the screens.
No problem. It was a good time. Hopefully I'll be able to come again next time.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Thanks. We'll see you in class on Friday.
Yep. See you then.
Okay. Darren, I think we did it.
Yeah, did good. Need help loading up the van?
Yeah, could you? Look over here. Oh, let me stop recording. Stop recording. Stop.